I'll give you some credit that maybe he did or maybe he did not call her a parasite. It is of my opinion that he did call her a parasite, but that is not the first part. That the first part is not what I have issue with. Your second paragraph is where you show your hypocrisy. I notice that you do this sometimes. Oh, this guy took the lives of the Egyptian children. How dare he? Leaving out the facts. I want y'all to remember that part. He said, leaving out the facts, the fact that Egypt not only enslaved God's children for hundreds of years, but he also took the lives of all the Israel's sons into the Nile River. Exodus 1:22. God even sent Moses to warn Pharaoh over and over again before he took Egypt's firstborn sons. But Pharaoh kept God's people enslaved anyway. God could have taken all of Egypt, but he did not, did he? My point is, when you coach, sometimes you leave out major parts of the story. Shouldn't that be a little concerning? Or at least a red flag in how you think you see God? So if your point with me is that I sometimes leave out major aspects of the story, I really think you should go back and read this story over again. Because when you actually read this story, one of the things that you'll realize is that only in your Bible does it talk about the firstborn sons of the Israelites being killed and thrown into the Nile River. There's actually no other evidence or proof of that other than your biblical story. But even if I gave you that, you say that they enslaved them for hundreds of years. There's no proof that the Israelites were ever enslaved in Egypt. As a matter of fact, Egyptian proof shows that most of the people who constructed the temples and buildings in Egypt were paid labor, that they were not slaves of the Israelites. And there's no history of any Israelites in large quantities being in Egypt during the time frame that would fit in the Moses narrative or the Joseph narrative at that. Now, you say I leave out important information. Let's look at some of the important information that you left out. You said that that Moses came down and he warned Pharaoh over and over and over again, but Pharaoh would not let them go until he took the firstborn sons. Did you skip out the part that it repeatedly says that this guy will harden Pharaoh's heart so that Pharaoh will consistently say no? Isn't that vital information to your point? And if you take issue and red flags with me because I leave out information, would you not also take that as a red flag with your thought process on this deity? Because if he had to harden Pharaoh's heart multiple times when Moses came and requested that he let my people go, then you would have to say that this God intentionally did not want Pharaoh to release those people so that this guy can go and do his plagues of water being turned to blood and flies and frogs and locusts and hailstorms and boils and things of that nature, that he desired to do these things to those people in order for, and I know what you're going to say, he did it so that they can see his power. Yet Egypt never converted over into Christianity until the Roman government converted over to Christianity in 381. Prior to that, Egypt was a multi-religious state, and there is absolutely no proof that they ever became Christian until then, or Jews, based on the time frame of that story. So the fact that you leave out that your God purposely made sure that Pharaoh would have a hardened heart says a lot about how you think about this God and how you will ignore certain facts just to make sure that your narrative fits. So you might want to think about that next time you say that I leave out facts, because in all my videos concerning that particular story, I never leave out the fact that he hardens Pharaoh's heart multiple times to make sure that this God can do all of his treachery. You have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.